How's it going, guys? Balder here, and as the decade draws to a close, I want to give you my final thoughts on this decade, particularly with the video game industry. After all, this is a gaming channel, and I want to answer a personal question that I've been reserving for the end of the said decade. Was this a good decade for gaming or a bad one? Well, to make the answer simple, it has been both. First, let's talk about the bad, and if I'm being honest, things got really bad, and I mean really bad. There were a lot of things that could be brought up. The first issue is that a lot of game companies went away. They were either absorbed or they simply ceased to exist. I firmly believe this is because of the 2008 recession, which also probably created my next problem. The next problem happens to be the sheer greed of the AAA companies. It started out benign with DLC, but then that DLC became Day 1 DLC, which made the game either really short or paying for levels as you go. That turned into microtransactions where people would have to buy the items they want, and once companies found out that people will only buy items that they want and ignore the rest, they introduced loot boxes so that now you no longer have a choice in what you get. Countless studios did this and got away with it for so long. Some are still getting away with it to this day. That's also not to mention the unfinished games from Bethesda and how that itself turned into an absolute shit show. Needless to say, there are some problems. Was it all bad though? Absolutely not. Something that people forget to mention is that early on in the decade, games were actually really good. From 2010 to 2012, we saw a lot of quality games. Skyrim, Mass Effect 2, Shogun 2, Dishonored. The list can go on. We also saw the rise in indie developers, and with it came a big wave of games. Steam opened the floodgates with Greenlight. PC gaming has been a massive boost as PC gamers didn't shy away from the console wars. And we as gamers made the platform flourish despite the best efforts of console manufacturers to stifle it. Flight simulators saw a resurgence, and we have never seen a healthier industry for such a niche genre. So many aircraft, so much scenery, and the community exploded. I remember going to Flight Sim Con in 2016 and 2017. The jump in participants was staggering. Flight Sim Expo was even larger, though sadly I never had the time to go. Still, it's undeniable, once a niche genre of games has now become a little less niche. The thing about simulators is that they were seen as tools more than games, and as a result, they became more CPU intensive. It wasn't really until Eagle Dynamics optimized for GPU processing and Nvidia made drivers for them as we saw an explosion in scenery. I could go on and on about how this decade was good and bad, because it was an extremely mixed bag. No decade has been more dynamic and revolutionary for gaming than this decade. Not even the 1980s were this eventful. And that's a decade that solidified the Japanese industry into the market. But there isn't much else for me to say. I could go into detail about how the resurgence has led to Microsoft taking back Flight Simulator, or how Cities Skylines was the perfect response to EA's botched attempt. There were hundreds of examples. Instead, what I want to do is leave you with this Christmas gift, I like to call it. A gift of wisdom, and that is the gift of wise spending. After all, there's a reason why Battlefront 2 failed and why they came out with Jedi Fallen Order. It's because of consumers planting their foot on the ground and telling them no. We as consumers stand up to these companies. When we make our own games and we refuse to buy games that are sold as services, then we as consumers get what we want. But it isn't enough to just vote with your wallet. You need to protest. You need to advocate. You need to speak up, because if you don't, the more people will be ignorant. It's hard to stand up against corporations. They not only have more reach, but they are allied to gaming journalists. If you doubt me, just ask Jeff Gertzman. And one last thought about this. I know that I have taken flack over the years for criticizing flight simulators and Eagle Dynamics, but I do so because I have to. What we have learned is that we cannot stand by and be complicit. We have seen the power of protest and what it can bring. And let me tell you, it's not enough to just vote with your wallet. You don't pay for the product, then whatever. They'll find someone more gullible. You need to spread awareness about the product. Be open and public about your opinions. If you don't like it, tell people. It's perfectly fine, and it helps make consumers informed about your purchases. This is especially the case with flight simulators. The way I see it, Matt Wagner has been acting a lot like Todd Howard as of late with bugs, unfinished products, and the very long times to fix and update everything. Granted, I will give him credit for not completely destroying the company like Todd did, but we need to remain vigilant. It's okay to call out something you don't like. It's okay to praise something others don't like. It's okay to have unpopular opinions. I just ask you that you be vocal about it and respect others' opinions. We as consumers have more power than companies want us to think we do. So, what am I going to do for the next decade? Well, I have some exciting news for you. I plan on growing my channel. As you most likely have noticed, I have an intro to my videos now. I want to give a shout out to Ducatello, who did an amazing job in a very short amount of time when it came to making that intro. I have also reached out to Flight Sim Expo, and they have officially made me a media partner for their event later in June of next year. I am excited to work for them as time goes on, and I thank them for making me a partner. As for this channel, I want to do more with my channel, and if you would like to assist me with that, I have a Patreon that you can go to. I lead a busy life, and if you want to see more videos with a higher production value, then please check it out. As for all that, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Yule, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, holidays, or whatever you choose to celebrate. And as always, you have a nice day, and a happy new decade.